So this is what I currently look like, about 170 pounds. I'm not sure what body fat. And this is what I looked like just about a year ago, about a year and 3 months. I was probably maxed out at around 217, I think we were. So I've put together a compilation of just all my training clips going through the year, and I'm just going to dive into it, kind of talking about what was going on and how I managed. I guess I dropped 45 pounds. I don't really know, something like that. But yeah, I mean, it all started right here. So it was about a year and 3 months ago. Yeah, so the very, very start of 2023. We're trying to flex here. You know how it is. Oh, okay, here's another one. But I mean, yeah, I definitely was not able to run. I could probably run for a mile, but then I would have to stop because my feet would hurt so bad from all my mass just coming down. But yeah, so I started off with a little thing. I woke up at 3 a.m. for a week. I posted it on one of my YouTube channels, but this was the first hard thing I really ever did. So I decided to wake up at 3 a.m. for a week for a video. And as we can see, this was right before I started actually losing weight. And I mean, you can kind of tell, yikes, 16-minute mile is not really the greatest. So, I mean, even at 3 a.m., no, what is that, 4:45? That's just not that great. So, yeah, 2 miles in 31 minutes. Compared to, what I can do now, that's pretty light. Or heavy. I don't know. But, yeah. So I would like to point out right now that this, in the way sorry, my bad. The process all started when I started training to climb Mount Everest. So I'm going to climb Mount Everest in, I think, 2 weeks. I fly out, just about a week and a half. I've been training that, going hard for the last year and 3 months. Just when you saw that first picture right here, that's when I first started. And this was literally my first week of training, and I did this 3 a.m. thing. So yeah, I mean, it was kind of brutal. We were getting into it, and it was the first time I was actually doing cardio for once in my life. As you can probably see, and we'll wait for another, physique update here, but I guess we got me running here. It looks like I'm fighting demons. I look like I'm in slow motion. I know, it's just definitely not good for your feet, being 217 pounds. Actually here, this is where I'll kind of show it. So up to this point, I had been doing CrossFit. Okay, I don't want to pause on that shot. Yes, I do CrossFit for strength training. Oh, and okay. Yeah, I mean, I work out. I would work out in my dungeon. It's literally my basement. It's a horrible place to work out, but it's discipline. But 2 times, one day, then 1 day rest. So it's just one workout every single one of those days. I mean, CrossFit, you can get 20 minutes literally in my basement. It's not like I was doing anything crazy. So I was able to, kind of have that baseline muscle here. But to compensate for how much I was eating, which was a lot, I never really followed any dieting habit. Actually, throughout this whole process, which is pretty interesting, I never really followed a diet plan or anything. I literally just ate what my body needed. So I wasn't really into my full training procedures yet until, now I started doing cardio for the first time in my life. 1,600 calories burned in a session right here. That would become very normal. As I started training for Mount Everest, I was burning now when I go out on a Monday or a Thursday, I burn like 2.7 thousand. But, we were just getting into this here in my body. Like you'll see in the shot in a second, I think. I was at Planet Fitness. Oh, I was smoked after that. My body had not seen anything like that ever. I don't even... I was feeling rough after that one. But, yeah, it was cool. I was able to film this video while I just started training, kind of just to document what was going on. But here you might see some... Okay, yeah, it was nice I was able to record this video while I was beginning my training. So I kind of document what was going on. And I could see, you can kind of see the chub on my face. At the time, I don't really think about it, but it was, I didn't think I was that heavy, but I was. So this is literally, did I eat all 3 of these? I can't even remember. I know I would put these chicken breasts on, This is about what I do today, but I probably, those size, I probably do one and a half. I mean, maybe two of these. If I was eating three of those at that time, that's pretty crazy. But, um, the thing is, and I just want to point this out here. I never followed a diet plan. I actually don't even count my macros. I don't count my calories, even though I made, that transformation, dropped 40 pounds. You'll see the reason why I was able to lose so much weight, and we'll start seeing the progress soon, is because I was just training for Everest. So I just started doing so much more cardio, not just, what is that, 4 to 5 workouts a week. I literally just started doing so much cardio that it all just came together and built up off of me. And this is that starting. So I started going on these hikes, and hiking is unbelievable in terms of helping you lose weight and just getting in a calorie deficit. Because at the end of the day, and we can kind of see even right now, I mean, maybe it was the loss of water weights, but I definitely was starting to slim up a little bit, like to right here, which was probably, just like a month difference, maybe even just a few weeks. But in that time, I had even started, I would say, to lose a little bit of weight. So I was definitely looking at that, because I started doing much more cardio, and now at this point, I probably was in a calorie deficit most of my training days. And I was going with that. I didn't track any calories. I literally just ate until I was full. And if I didn't feel right, then I would eat more. So it's kind of just like this back and forth battle. And I noticed I'm losing weight, which is I needed to. That's why I wanted to do it. But it wasn't so significant that it was something to be concerned about. The only thing I kept track of was my protein intake. I always make sure to go body weight. So right now I'm at 170, so 170 grams of protein. I definitely get more than that because, like I said, I don't count. But as long as I'm not going under that, I won't lose any muscle, hopefully. I don't know if that's how it works, but I mean, that's how it's worked for me. So yeah, I mean, cardio, we started bumping up that cardio. Again, these hiking days were definitely the key, I think, to what I was able to achieve. And this is another thing I started doing, was all these step ups. Even to this day, I still fight demons every time I'm doing them. In the cellar, we're going to see some step ups in the cellar, I think, soon. I would put on this 35-pound pack, and I would just get up on some sort of thing to step up and down on, and it was awful. These things still to this day killed me. I probably started out around 300 in a session. I'd do them after my hike or after my CrossFit WOD. And at this point, I'm doing 850 in a session. I'll do that like either 2 to 3 times a week. And I would just have people film me out here. Yeah, I just have my pack. Oh, still drinking the microplastic water bottle. I don't do that anymore. I think when I was doing these, I would really stop so frequently on the trail, going up and down. Basically, there's this mountain near my house. It's like 200 feet. No, 2,000 feet, my bad. But it's about 800 feet of gain. I would just go up and down this like once or twice starting out. I'm doing it about 4 times, but it's just the same trail. Up and down, up and down. This was the hardest thing I had ever done right here. This was Mount Washington. So it's the tallest mountain in New England. I got a guide. He brought me up there, and I had to have been like 210 pounds, maybe. I was definitely losing weight because I was doing much more hiking, and I was running no more than a couple miles a day probably. But we went up the tallest mountain in New England, and oh my gosh, I was actually dead. Like, this killed me. I was so out of shape, but I still made it up somehow. I mean, you can see we're going up for the summit. It was such awful weather too that day. Look at this. Dude, I was literally struggling. I actually cried when I got to the top of this. And this is where, I wanted to do Mount Everest, and I was training for that. But this is where I actually had my first mountaineering experience, and I hated it at the time, but when you get up to the top, I was crying. So a couple weeks later, I went to Ecuador, and you can kind of see I've slimmed up a little bit. I would say I'm definitely in better condition. I've been conditioned at this point, and I've definitely lost a few pounds. I've just been in a calorie deficit. Like I said, I'm not tracking calories. I'm literally not even adjusting how much I'm eating. I'm just eating what I think I need, and then I'm burning so much calories. That's what leads me to start losing weight. If you're training hard enough, you're going to lose weight. It's very hard to eat more if you're training at a certain level. unless if you're eating junk food, which you don't want to put that in your body anyways. You want to feel the gains. So this was we went to climb a mountain. It was Chimborazo. It's this, I think, 20,500 feet in Ecuador. This was one of our first climbs. I was with the boy Don Healy and Joaquin. We found some dogs. This is like the first hike, so we have to acclimate, and we started off on this one hike. But I was able to I got through this pretty well, and it was the following climb. So this is the same climb. This Paso Choa right here. I think it's about 14,000 feet ish. But I mean, solid climb. You know, we went for about 4 hours. So it's these climbs that get you in that deficit where you're going for long amounts of time, and you're gonna get it's like impossible to eat more. That's just the thing about it. So you eat what you can, but you know, I'm not saying to starve yourself. I'm saying like train, fuel your body with what you need. And, you know, long term, if you're in like that slight deficit range, you will progress in either losing fat or just, I mean, whatever you want to do. Because you'll see as we keep getting these physique pictures, is I lost very slowly. Even though it looks like a big jump from day 1 to day 365, it was so slow. like I could have lost so much more if I didn't eat or, no, but I wanted to maintain my muscle. I wanted to be healthy. So this is us going up Iliniza. And this is Chimborazo. We ended up going down, though, because I was still so out of shape. I don't even know what like my mile time would have been at this time. By climbing that, I was probably 205 pounds. So I had to turn back because I just was so dead. But I was falling more in love with Chimborazo and you know, mountain climbing. And more cardio. Surprise, surprise. The biggest thing is cardio. We're not lifting to get big or strong. We're really just going to failure with our legs, how long we can go. So basically what I would do is I was now training for Denali in Alaska along with Everest. So that's America's tallest mountain. And I'm pulling a sled. So there's like, I mean, there's probably 40 pounds on my back. So I was lugging weight. I got back from Ecuador and I started lugging weight. We had a literal sled with a backpack in it. So I don't know. I think probably 80 pounds total. Literally just going up this road on this mountain and trying to catch elevation gain. So I mean, these days I was probably burning 2,000 plus minimum, maybe 1.5 minimum. And there's no way I'm eating more than that, right? So of course I'm gonna lose more, and I try, right? I don't want to be starving. You never want to be starving. You're gonna feel horrible. So this is more step ups. We're definitely leaning up a little bit, I think. Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, these step ups, just doing long exertions of cardio, like it's so underestimated. Not even, I mean, 10,000 steps, right? They say 10,000 steps is enough to really, it is. People underestimate just stepping or like stepping up or hiking. Even if you're going slow, you don't need a sprint. You're going to actually do better off just going slow. So, and now we're making some progress. So this is a pretty big jump. You can kind of see like the definition on the obliques, I believe they're called, like underneath the chest. We're still pretty big though, and I would say we're at like 195. Maybe right here. I love watching the flex. Gotta love it. But yeah, I mean like 195. And here's a beautiful representation of the dungeon. Like it's a shithole. Up and down this. I do about 850 of these now. I was probably doing maybe 400 here, but I would keep adding on. That's the thing. It's like progressive overload, but with training, like cardio. So like obviously I can do, you know, 850 step ups in the time it used to take me 300, right? So this is one I was just trying to put my body in a really bad environments, doing these step ups on top of this mountain and getting blasted by wind. I was like, hey, I'm going to be on Everest. I'm going to have this happening to me. So we're still pretty big, probably 195. But I'm definitely getting more fit at this point. I upped my training a lot after that Ecuador failure on Chimborazo. So once we had that L, I was like, I gotta lock in because there's no way if I can't do that, then I'm not gonna be able to do Everest. I'm gonna literally die. Ooh, we're looking kind of big in this picture, not like fat wise, but even muscle wise. So okay, this is more sledding. So I was just sledding all the time. Like I said, pulling the sled up the mountain. That's where we were at. And this is pretty solid. I mean, I think there was just a huge jump after when you have a goal, and I failed Chimborazo and I realized, okay, I'm climbing Everest. I've committed to this. I want to do it so bad. I've had these mountaineering experiences and I'm like falling in love with the sport. I have that experience, that bad experience. I'm going to start going hard because I don't want that ever to happen again. And thankfully, I haven't actually had a failure like that since then where I had to actually turn back on my own behalf because of my physical standards. But we started going really hard. This is the longest, that picture right there is the longest and hardest I've ever ran. Like 8 miles at an 8-minute pace almost. I mean, like that, I'm sure my feet were hurting, but if you start dialing down on that cardio, you're going to lose weight. And you're going to really get closer to your goal that you want and just get in shape. Like that's the beautiful thing about this, because I never intended on losing a lot of weight. I just had a goal and I knew I had to get way more in shape for it, but I never intended to lose more weight, if that makes sense. I would have been fine if I had looked the same and I was performing the same as I am now, but it just kind of comes as a byproduct. This is like pretty big here. So I started going way harder and we have those obliques. You can start seeing it. My face has gotten slim. Waist is getting slimmer as well. So it was just really awesome to see, I could run now. My feet weren't stinging. My ankles weren't hurting whenever I went and actually ran, which was just wonderful, honestly. And I was getting better climbs in, more elevation gain a day. Obviously I wasn't getting too much stronger, but I didn't care, right? I stronger as in lifting wise. I was just focusing on being able to go as long and far as possible, and we were getting there, so that was nice. Okay, so this was right before we went to Denali. So this is like the big mountain. Like people say this mountain's harder than Everest sometimes, but so we were heading there in June. So we had been training for 6 months at this point, and we're probably down, honestly, like 15 pounds, maybe 20. I would say we're at, in this picture, 195, 190 probably. And I'm able to run, and we head to Denali, which is the tallest mountain in America, North America. It's in Alaska. So it's so beautiful, but it's one of the most physically demanding mountains out there. You have to pull literal sleds, and I had been pulling sleds. That's why I was training for this, but these ones are even heavier. You have the elevation gain itself, and you're also at altitude, so it's going to just suck way more. You literally fly in on a plane. Look at this place. So beautiful, though. I want to go back one day. But, yeah, here I am just giving a little bit of a rundown. And it's funny. So you can see kind of like a little bit of, fat here. I'm still a bit wide, right? But I'm pretty sure at the end of this trip, you could literally see me slim down because I would lose 15 pounds. In this one single trip. We were on this mountain for 19 days and I lost 15 pounds. This is not like advisable. And most of that was probably water weight. But this is like, I can't believe that. Because I don't know how much calories we burned today, but pulling those sleds, and then you don't eat much. That's the problem with Denali, is you're eating canned foods, dehydrated meals, trying to compensate for the lack of calories. You're just burning right through fat the entire time. So it was such a good experience, though. Ooh, why did I have so much disgust in that sip of drink there? Yeah, you can see, I think this is day 2. I was down horrendously, so actually no, we hadn't even gone yet. That's hilarious. And as you can see, we're gonna start pulling the sleds in a second. Here we are, just through this giant plateau. It's some barbarian type Liver King workout style over here. Oh, it's so beautiful though. How can you not I want to go back, because you'll see we didn't, maybe we didn't get to the top. It is what it is, but wait, I skipped hella there. Oh, we get a little bit of a thing there, but yeah, we're down horrendously this entire time, getting snowstormed on, bodies burning more calories. In the cold, we're going up. Look how slow we're all moving. We're destroyed. So, to put it simply, this isn't the best way. This is just my personal way that I lost 45 pounds, went from 217 to 170, which I'm at right now. Like, you could have not done all this stuff. You could have like actually paid attention to your diet, but I was training for something. That's what I tell a lot of people, is if they really want to take things into their own hands and just get somewhere, find something that you want to do. For me, it was climbing Everest, but it could be a marathon. If you really take that into your hands, like, you're going to be burning thousands more calories a week and getting really in shape. And you'll feel so much better than you ever would. I mean, your legs will, you'll be tired a lot of the time, but here we are. Like, we're even doing push-ups at this right now. I'm not going down all the way, but give me a break. We're at 14,000 feet here. And you could see, I mean, we're looking a lot more toned. The muscle looks more dense, if that makes sense. I'm sure I'll stand up here in a second, but 185 maybe here. And we're definitely looking, here we go. Yeah, I mean, you can see, I mean, hips are still like a little bit, big, and I definitely could run now. At this point, I was feeling like an athlete, I would say. But we're still about only like half of the way there, and that makes sense because this was 6 months into training. So we're that's halfway of where we are now. So, what was I even doing up here? Okay, so I just thought I'd throw this in. We didn't summit because you can see that change was crazy. Literally in the span of 5 minutes, then we're getting stormed on. I mean, you just give it your all and this is what was my main goal, because obviously you want to climb Everest, but you have these other climbs, and we had to turn back because look at what the weather decided to do. Crazy. People are like yelling in each other's ears. I'm just sitting there like, nah, this is... Then you go down and then you get to see the beautiful view. So it was worth it for this one single video. Honestly worth it. And this is what I was talking about. Look how slim I look now. It's so stupid. This is like, obviously I never... I look so sad because we got back down to the airstrip where we started starving. Literally. Look at the weather. No planes flying in on that. So I had to like look around for food and stuff because I ran out. So we were on that airstrip waiting for the plane to pick us up for I think 4 days, and we had no food. So that was quite unfortunate, and I was very hungry. So, and then look at this. What's key? Okay, this is mostly water weights. So don't think that this is, I obviously lost so much muscle, and I would never want to have that happen again. But when you go through something so physical like that, you're going to lose fat. Because I'm burning so much calories because I'm heavier. I was probably 185 to 190 when I went. In this, I could definitely be like low 180s. I'm heavy going up there, and I'm moving all that weight, and then followed by starving. Your body's literally going to eat itself alive. So we'll actually come back from this a little bit, but like, this is leaner than I had ever looked in my life. Actually, that's not true. In the past, maybe year and a half at this point, probably the leanest I had ever looked. And like, I was so surprised because I look at the old videos and I think I wasn't that big, but then you look at the old videos and you're like, wow, I was. So, I mean, I just almost climbed. I would have gotten to the top of Denali if we didn't have to turn back. I was feeling like a beast, honestly. And we're making a lot of progress here. So that was really awesome to see. But we ain't done yet. This is still only 5-6 months ago. Backflip on the top of a mountain, huge. Okay, this is after we got our food in our body. We started, densing up a little bit. Here, let's go back to that for a second. Was this it? Or was it after? Yeah. Yeah, we started densing up a little bit. Then the mass started to come back slightly. But, yeah. I mean, we just continue getting after it. And, like, this, I'm pretty confident it is where I started going, what I call demon mode. Because I had gone pretty hard before Denali, but only for the month before it. Because I had been training wrong for Everest. I wasn't getting enough. I wasn't getting out for enough hours. I wasn't doing enough, I would say. And I was losing fat, right? And I was getting way leaner, and I was feeling way better. I was able to run now, but I wasn't really leveled up yet. So after Denali, I decided to actually go so hard, we'll see some of the stuff, and it would lead me to like what I look like today, because I basically haven't changed. You know, I've obviously added more weight and I've gone harder, but I've just been following the same regimen since after Denali. So I started, you know, going out for these long rucks. And a lot of these are rucking videos, because that's what I would say is, here we go, right? Like after a ruck, I mean, oh, I love rucking so much. It's the best, but you burn so much calories and your legs get worked. And this video right here was taken after a 12-hour rucking day. I think maybe like 12 and a half. So I'd gone up and down the same trail for 12 and a half hours, and I burned probably close to 4,000 calories. Look how, it's brutal. My lips are, that made me lick my lips because they made my lips dry. But I was destroyed. But that's just one thing I had to do to get closer to Everest. So we started doing these once a month, these 12-hour long days, just to kind of expose my body to things like that. And then I would literally be working out the day before and after. It's not like I tapered my training up for this. This is another time I did it the next month. My watch died, but yeah, you can see 9.5 hours and we're already at 4K. Elevation gain, I think we did up to 8.7K right there. So 8.7 thousand feet is like actually no joke. That's a lot. That's up and down for a long time. And as I started doing this, I was building up so much resistance though. And this whole time, by the way, I'm still doing CrossFit, so I'm able to maintain the muscle I have, and like I'm starting to look like a mini unit, I would say, which is solid. I'm just admiring now. Damn. Okay, chill. But yeah, we're definitely starting to put into shape here. And surprisingly, this is still only 4 months ago, so we've done a lot since then. Even then, I was still doing CrossFit, so I would get 4 lifting workouts a day in. And if that's what the CrossFit workout was lifting. Like we got right here, the hotel workouts would go crazy. So this is like what the workouts look like. Just weird stuff like this, but it's, you know, functional strength. And I love it, because the reason I wanted to train CrossFit along with mountaineering is because how functional CrossFit is. And also it's not as long. The workouts aren't as long. They're intense. So, you know, we have a few clips here back to back, but like I was able to get them done along with the longness of my other actual mountaineering training, which was really awesome. And I just had to avoid injury. That was the main thing. That's CrossFit, you know, injuries and whatnot happen. You can see I'm going really slow because, you know, I don't want to mess up my back or anything. But dude, this is how I was able to maintain, because I mean, okay, 1801. So you can kind of see from when we first started, we did have that base layer of muscle, right? Like this isn't all fat. You know, you can kind of see like a little bit of like ab definition. Chest is, you know, I'm pretty lucky with my chest genetics, I would say. But, you know, we were able to maintain it, and then with enough protein intake, plus all the cardio, and it was a long process. I was eating a lot. People would look at my plate and be like, how are you eating so much? I was still eating a lot. It was just the amount of cardio I was doing made up for it, and just consistency day after day. Your body needs to evolve to this increase in training. Once I started training for Everest, my body needed to adapt to it, which took a very long time. I mean, it took like a month before I was actually able to do it without like, there were some days where I would break down in my basement. I was like, holy, I can't do this. Like first month into training. Once you start going, I mean, I was eating a lot. I didn't want to lose my muscle, of course. I'm going back at it. That's crazy. Added on the extra cardio. Of course, getting what I could for workouts and was able to maintain my muscle, making sure to get enough protein in is huge. Here's another climb. Just another fun little getting smacked by some weather with the boys here. And this was recently. This was Aconcagua. So this is my last big climb before Everest. And you can see I'm looking way leaner now. Like I actually felt like I was a mountaineer, which was amazing. You know, I was getting up this mountain really not easy, but I felt amazing getting up this mountain. But no, I mean, you can buy porters, you can pay people to bring up your gear, and I didn't buy any. Obviously you have help, from the guides and the mules. They have mules that carry some stuff up, but I was feeling great, dude. I was confident. I felt so much more confident in myself. Like, I'm going out here doing cold plunges, post them on Instagram. This is pretty recent still. This is about 2 months ago. So honestly, from now, since then, we ended up summiting the mountain. I felt great. I only lost like a few pounds maybe, and that's normal. And I continue getting these workouts in, these CrossFit workouts, keep the muscle, absolutely loading on cardio. Here we got a 4 hour, it was 24 miles. I decided to try to do a marathon literally without eating anything, which is awful. Don't do that. I learned my lesson. I wanted to see if I could do it fasted, because I had been doing fasted workouts, and I want to see if I could do a marathon fasted. It destroyed me, but I actually still hiked the next day. So, I mean, your legs kind of just lock in at one point. But, yeah, the cardio became, now my legs were just, they feel kind of indestructible. And I'm not trying to get overconfident here, but, my legs can go. They'll go for a long time. And I was cooked. So do not try that. But I'm glad I did it, because that was like, since Chimborazo, that was the only time I had ever gone till bonking, which bonking is when your body just won't go anymore. That's why I stopped at 24 miles. So I had to eat. And then the next week, my doctor didn't like this because it showed up in my blood results, my blood tests. But I decided to go climb Mount Washington, that first mountain that I struggled so much on. I went and did it twice. So I started at 4 a.m. I was breaking trail, and it was so beautiful. I was so happy, and I had the biggest smile on my face, because when I was getting up on that mountain and I knew I could do it twice, because once I got to probably like an hour away from the summit, like right here, I was thinking to myself about how hard I struggled just even, what would that have been, 10 months ago, right? When I first attempted this mountain, and now I was up here literally breaking trail. It felt so great just from being so consistent. Pushing myself, getting that cardio in, and fueling my body. That's the biggest thing too. You have to fuel your body. Never think you can lose this weight by not fueling your body. You got to know what you're doing, and you got to take it very slow. If you want to maintain your muscle and don't look awful and feel awful, you have to be in like a slight calorie deficit. Don't even try to time it. Just honestly have a goal, work towards it, and go from there. Because the reason you're probably maybe, not looking the way you want is because you need to make some sort of change, right? You can't be doing the same thing every single day. I was doing those 4 or 5 CrossFit workouts a week, and they weren't doing the job, I would get a little bit of, it was probably good for my heart and everything, but besides that, I was making Minecraft videos all day long. I still do that a lot. I still sit in this chair for literally hours a day. And that's going to be awful for you. You need to get moving. Cardio is so important. So this was right when we got back down from our second ascent. 5.2k calories. Whew. Those stats still get me to this day. 10,000 feet of gain. There's like spit or something on my hand. It's so gross. I didn't care. And is this where we are today? I think so. Is this where we are? Yeah, this is where we are today. So basically, it comes full circle, sort of. That makes no sense, honestly. But yeah, I think this is the best I've looked throughout this whole journey. I've maintained a decent amount of the muscle throughout the process, and 170 pounds here. I feel great. I'm more confident than I ever have been, and honestly starting to train for Everest and commit to all this training has impacted my life so much. The fact that I could just go out and run like 10 miles if I wanted to is amazing. And I'm not held back. I can't not run because I hurt my feet. My feet hurt, or my ankles hurt. When I was back here, right, like I couldn't even run a mile. So it's awesome that I'm able to do that now, and I hope maybe if any of this inspired any of you, that's awesome. But yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me was just finding that goal, working towards it, and really committing, really wanting it. And don't think about the weight. That's how you get body dysmorphia, is if you're constantly considering and looking at your weight. I barely even thought about it. This is why, I mean, throughout this whole video, there's probably like 10 times I recorded myself in the mirror. I just sometimes noticed. I was like, hey, I'm looking pretty good. it was really just the training. I recorded the training more than I recorded myself. So, look at this scrolling through. That's crazy. Yeah, it was really just that first 6 months where it was huge jump. But yeah. Well, anyways, that's about it. That's how I lost 45 pounds, was just a lot of cardio, taking on that challenge, taking on that goal of commitment, and fueling my body so I could do this for that long. My body could recover next week. You know, every single week I'm going into it fresh. I'm feeling good. And I can actually get it done. And that's all from real foods, okay? It matters what you eat. Sometimes it doesn't matter how much you eat. It matters what you eat. I could go eat so much right now, and I would probably still be in a calorie deficit sometimes because of how I'm training. So until after Everest, I'll see, you know, kind of assess it from there. But that's fine with me for now because I want to be lighter. If I want to, you know, be able to move further. Not trying to lift heavy. Yes, I cannot bench 225. I proudly say I cannot, but yeah. All right. Well, anyways, bye.